Welcome to the lab. I'm your host, Joshua Diaz. Thank you for being here. Good to see you. Happy Sunday, January 2nd, 6:59 here on the West Coast. I hope everybody had a great Christmas and a better New Year. I hope everybody keeps their New Year's resolutions and makes them fairly workable. You know, you don't have to work miracles. It's progress, not perfection. And it is, once again, my esteemed joy to welcome a friend of the show, friend of mine, Mr. Chris McDonough, aka the McFluffster, aka your hair looks fantastic tonight. I tell you that.
I fluffed it for you, buddy.
Yeah, did you get the
Oh yeah, I got the McFluff out and I hit it.
Is it, what do they call that? The palm? Do you do the dry pomade?
You know, at my age, I'll do anything that works.
I'm telling you, man. And you're not that old, but men start going bald fairly young. I've seen people that I went to high school with, and I go, "Wow, where'd the top go, George Jefferson?" You know, it was man, the chimney's gone. You know, I don't. That would be tough. I got to tell you. I mean, I'm wearing a hat tonight, but I definitely, you know, You sent me a picture the other night where I said I looked like Jim Belushi when he was a samurai, and I kind of did.
Oh, that was happening, man. I saw that. I was like, oh, there's Jim Belushi.
That's me. I've also gotten, what else are you? One time I got Chum Lee. I didn't like that one so much, but that's okay, from Pawn Stars. But the Jim Belushi one, yeah, I could see that one. I saw that. That made I go, man, I just got roasted by somebody almost twice my age.
Well, I'll tell you that if you didn't get a chance to see some of those skits that he was in as the samurai chef, John Belushi was, it was John. Jim is his brother. John he's hysterical. He's like you on a really funny day. And, you know, that's why, you know, I sent it to you, because when I saw you all geared up there with the new haircut, I thought
the thing is, it's not a new haircut. It's not. I've just never worn my hair like that on the show, but that's wouldn't be something new that you would see. It's kind of one of those things. If you got the hair, go ahead and grow it, you know, because like I said, I just see a lot of guys that, so I was like, yeah, you know, I'm mid-30s. I'm not quite to the point where I'm getting there. I don't wear football jerseys anymore. You know how, like, if I see somebody over 25 wearing a football jersey, I go, come on, guy. If you're not at a football game and you're wearing a football jersey over 25 years old, I can't take you serious at that moment.
Right.
And so if you have a football jersey and a samurai haircut at the same time and over 25, you know, you're going the wrong direction in life. So I had to pick one or the other.
You're a good
youth.
You're a good person. And I love the fact that, you know, you have a great sense of humor. I mean, so I gave you a shout out tonight, by the way. I told my channel that I'd be over here. So hopefully a lot of folks
it looks like people are showing up. I always appreciate the interview room crowd and the lab when they mesh. We got a lot of the same people that listen to us.
Yep.
And it's a great thing because, you know, I feel like my mods are fantastic. Your mods, your chat's fantastic. My chat's fantastic. And it makes me happy that everybody can, you know, get along. And another thing is, you know, we don't put up with the nonsense. You know, I've kind of learned that not all chat is good chat. Not the chat flowing. I'd rather have it dried up than hateful, mean, just derogatory. And it happens. People sneak in, but you're going to have to wait for a little bit and become a subscriber to get your one shot in, because that's all you get. And then you're gone into the ether.
Yeah. I just, I see a lot of some of my folks here, Sophie H. and one of our mods. And, what I relish the idea is, the fact that you don't have all the craziness over here, right? The cussing and the yelling. I mean, our folks, they deserve more than that from us, right? I mean, we're
yeah. Yeah, and there's and you and I have had this conversation. There's a time and a place. What we're doing at this moment is we're talking about very sensitive cases where things have happened, and the people that watch the shows are sensitive to those people. It's really not the time and the place. I've kind of started to learn that, as we can all be funny and talk about Don's free crack giveaway and how ridiculous that sounds. At the same time, we have a great duty to respect the people that come to watch us, and they need to know exactly what they're coming to listen to.
Yep.
If it was presented in a different way, I've had several different shows. None of them have been true crime before, and none of them are not. These shows might not be for everybody, but as long as you know that going in, I think that's fair. But when we're here, and we're here to talk about serious stuff. And, we can have a goof or two, maybe three, because, for some reason you were roasting tonight. You had me Rodney Dangerfield, Red Skelton. I was going, man, guy's timing's pretty good. you were a comic in your other life, weren't you?
I was the funny guy in high school and into in the bureau. When you work homicide, as long as I did, I mean, you had to have a sense of humor. I mean, one time, I'll tell you a quick story. One of the guys hit a possum. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning, and they threw it in the back seat of the patrol car, right, for the next shift. So this thing was in the back, in the cage behind the driver, and I think it was like 5:30, 6:30 in the morning when they pulled back into the whole the back lot, and the next shift was coming on. Okay, well he got out of the car and says, "Hey, dude," he says, "there's a possum in the back of 102." Whatever the squad car number was, right? I'm like, you gotta be kidding. Well, that went around like firewater, right? Everybody was waiting to see who's going to get that car. So the next squad comes out, and you see this poor soul hit that door, and as soon as they did, that possum just popped up like it was just nuts, and it was tearing up the
those
bed.
Things are very mean.
It was really mean.
Yeah.
And it played possum just like it said.
That's right, what they do
in the book. And anyway, those are the kind of things that cops do at 3 in the morning when there's no bad guys.
Yeah.
At that time, but anyway, that's the kind of stuff. So yeah,
there's some downtime. Yeah. I was very surprised when I first started watching your show. It wasn't exact. I didn't watch it to laugh. That's for sure. No offense.
Yeah,
but as we got to know each other, and then I think even you're pretty decently new to hosting a show within the last year or so, right? Like, you've been on shows, but you're decently new to hosting shows, and you've gotten more comfortable. You know what you're doing. Just from a production standpoint, I can see that you put time. Look, I know what it takes to put a show on, where you have to do slides, you have to do audio, you're doing video. It's not, you don't just turn the camera on and go. That's just not how this works, even if you're going to put any kind of show together at all. And I know that you put time and effort into all your shows, and I have always appreciated that. And just the stuff you were talking about tonight, like the drugs and the life or shelf of the drug and things like that. That, I mean, that's really knowledgeable information. I had no idea the length of how long, say, I've heard the term chasing the needle, chasing the dragon, and I know that coming down off those kind of drugs is hard, and that's why people re-up on them. I had no idea. But you didn't you buy drugs for a living at one point?
Yeah, I worked narcotics and vice back in the day, that was 84 to 86. And I went to the DEA School of Narcotics Investigators. I was voir dired as a DRE, drug recognition expert. 11550 is a health and safety code in California for under the influence, UI. And so we had to learn all that stuff. Dr. Forrest Tennant, that name may ring a bell to you up in Northern California. He was like the pioneer of, nystagmus test for marijuana, and back in the day where you take your finger and you move it. Did you know? And you may not know this, but you probably do. But if you do that, right, in a nystagmus test, the pupil, when you're under the influence of marijuana, and you can do it with your friends, it's hysterical. The pupil will vibrate.
Yeah, I probably knew that, but I didn't know that. I'm sure it's
I know.
happened to me before.
And and then you can also do what they call the drift, where you take your finger and you bring it towards the nose, and one of the pupil will drift off.
That's what I do that with my dog Otis, and because he gets a wonky eye sometimes. And then when I get too close,
What's his grade this week, too? By the way,
man, he's been doing well. Okay, he chewed up somebody's glasses, their prescription glasses, and but besides that, we're looking at probably he's like a C plus right now. If you were to factor in the glasses, he'd be an F.
Poor
man. And I mean, he went at the lens, and so then I'm like, because I check his teeth a lot, and because he's got those puppy teeth. This guy is missing his two front teeth now. He looks ridiculous
because of the glasses. He ate the glasses.
No, it's just everything else that he does in life. He chewed on a brick the other day. I just watched him do it. It was the dumbest thing I'd ever seen. But he's just got those little puppy teeth, and they're either gone or he's worn them to a nub, and he's waiting for the big ones to come in. Oh man, he is something though. I'll tell you. Him and I, today it was pretty much him and I all day. Everybody else was gone doing their thing. And he peed in my front seat of the car.
Oh, wow.
That's my fault because I didn't make him go to the bathroom first. And then,
go ahead. I'm listening.
When I went to get coffee,
it's sitting underneath me.
Look at that.
Go ahead. I'm listening.
He got coffee and they gave him what they call a puppuccino. With whipped cream, which was not a good idea. But I let him have it. But he could only get a quarter of the way into the cup because his nose is so like Buddy could reach in all the way. Otis has a fat, flat nose, so he can only get in about that far. Okay. So then he pulls it out and he's got whipped cream and he's wanting me to feed it to him while I'm driving. Well, that's not going to happen. Plus, you just peed in my seat. So I smashed the cup a little bit so some more would come out. And then I let him eat the cup. That's what happened. That's how it ended. Here, have the cup, buddy. Go for it. He didn't actually eat the cup. He spits it out. My long story short, the front passenger seat of my 2021 Honda is thrashed. And I got to take it back to the dealer and get a new one now. That's just how it's going to have to be. It's forever unclean.
Oh my, that's hysterical.
Yeah, put a potty pad down.
You can't live without them. I know when your other dog passed away, it's like losing. And speaking of that, somebody lost their son on Christmas. I saw, God bless you, whoever I saw you go by, forgive me for not acknowledging it, but that's hard. But even pups, when we lose our friends, it's hard, man. I don't know, I don't think I've ever shared it with you, but Irk, I was a dog handler from 86 to 89. Right after I got transferred out of Vice Narcotics, I hit the street. They sent me to canine school. I got Irk. Irk knew more than I did. I just had to learn the commands. They were all German. He was a Schutzen shepherd. Anyway, long story short, we got in a couple things in our time, and I lost him on duty, and it was crazy. It was a crazy night, and so I remember when your dog passed. They're an emotional. It's a struggle to get through some of that stuff, right? They're like children.
It's funny that you say that because, yeah, I think I had even mentioned to you once or twice before she had passed. I noticed that her back legs had started going out, and
Yeah.
I was just very anxious about it because I knew how old she was, and I knew that at this age, like, this was coming, but you never want it to. You never, I noticed the legs starting to go out, and then within 36 hours, she just got sick. Her back leg stopped working. Day before Thanksgiving, I carried her. She was a 85-pound lab. I had to put her in the back seat of my car. The same one Otis peed in. She peed in as well, but she was welcome to.
Yeah.
And they came out to the car and they did everything for us, and I got to lay there with her till the very end. It was a tough 3 days, but I tell you, when I started thinking about it this way, Chris, I said, would I do this all over again? As bad as I'm hurting right now, I said I'd do it 100 times because that was how much love that she brought me. And Otis, we're really starting to bond now. When he first got here, he was kind of like, I like you, but I don't like you that much. Now it's like, you're my guy. I get it now. You're my human. I'm imprinting on you, and that's what he's doing. Just like I'm sure Buddy, does Buddy have a favorite? It's probably Karen, would make sense.
Yeah.
Buddy's your boy.
Yeah, that's the ticket. No, he's sitting at my feet.
Does he listen to somebody better than the other?
He listens to me a little bit more than Mom, but she loves him. I mean, this dog can do anything around with, even before. Let me show you. When I showed you, or during the show there a little bit ago, Karen's like, she walked out, and I don't know if you can see this. I've got this green screen on, so let me hold it back there. See that?
Yeah, I see him.
He left me, went into her room, and that's her pillow. And I'm like, dude, what a two-timer, right?
That's what they do.
Come on. And but I tell you, I love that job, but when I got transferred into homicide, that was, the last task for me. I mean, I spent the next 13 years working murder. But dogs, all animals, they really know what time it is, right? I mean, they really do. They're full of love.
They certainly are. And speaking of dogs, let's talk about Dawn for a second here. Yeah, why not? Right? I mean, wow. It's just the crack giveaway is we've reached a new pinnacle here of Dawnisms, as I like to call them. And what are the actual chances that he gave any crack away that day? I say 0.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, he's crack-a-lacking himself.
Big time. Why? Why?
Away. Yeah, exactly.
Is that a drug-induced story? Is that because what happens is when people come off these big runs of, they have this euphoric type well, I did this and I did. It almost sounds like either, he was going through this, the phase of coming down, but he had this euphoric feeling still that crack cocaine will give you. I mean, whatever he did, whatever he said, doesn't make any sense. There's no reason to do something like that other than you just want to get high, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna, well, first of all, it's, what's the old saying, right? Ludicrous speed. Okay, from Spaceballs, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Great movie. Rick
Ludicrous speed.
Moranis. Shout out Rick Moranis.
And they slam the brakes on, boom. Okay, that was Don's move when he said, "Yeah, I went out and bought $2,000 worth of crack-a-lacka," and then then what did he do? I mean, like Robin Hood, he went out and distributed it somewhere. Yeah,
Yeah, you called him Crack Hood, and I called him Santa Crack.
Santa crack. That's better than
Oh,
crack.
well,
Yeah,
it's all the same. I mean, you go buy crack and hand it out like some modern day
and,
Robin.
and then to add, and I, I want to be right like you. We want to be, okay. If that's what you did, seriously, let's talk about that, because there is not a dope cop in the world, or a homicide guy, or a FBI who's gonna, first of all, let you go buy $2,000 worth of crack without a wire on.
Yeah.
Okay, and so it just didn't, it, I, if you can get him on your show, get him on your show. Okay,
Sure.
I still am hoping that he'll come on, to somebody, and I'll be there and we can talk. But you and
Well,
I
we
both
can
know when we heard that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
we can set that up. I don't know. Look, it's he doesn't it's see, you don't softball the guy, which is fair, but you're not mean to him. That's the one thing that I have never understood. You ask him questions, and the same way that I've done. I don't think I've treated him any different than you have, and for some reason, probably obviously because your show's bigger and you've done more for this case than bringing awareness to this case than most anybody until Dr. Phil, and even Dr. Phil used some of your stuff on his show that nobody else could get. I just don't think he likes the exposure that you've brought to them, and I think that he thinks that it's probably none of our business what happened to Summer, and this is what we're getting as a maybe a consolation. Look, I care, but it's really, he didn't expect this to happen. I'm not talking about Summer going missing. Maybe he didn't expect that to happen. Maybe he did, but he didn't expect it to catch fire this way. You know how many missing children are all over the world that get very little coverage. Who would think that some podunk town in Tennessee, little girl goes missing? Who's going to think that it's going to blow up worldwide? And it has blown up worldwide. We have people from New Zealand, Australia, the UK. It's all over. Canada, Alaska, and I think Alaska is its own country now. I'm just kidding. But they're everywhere. Everybody has heard about this.
Yeah.
And
go ahead.
And that sucks for him, and it sucks for Candus, because it seems like you want to use that as to your benefit, and it's just they're not using it to their benefit.
Yeah, and there is a move afoot here to rewrite the script. So you'll notice the first one has not worked. Okay? The public is now going, hey, wait a minute. Okay. We've been measuring this now for 6, 7 months now. Her birthday's coming in February 4th. And the public is now saying, hey, wait a minute. uh, what are you doing? And not what are you doing to look for summer. They're just saying, what are you doing?
Mm.
I mean, you're coming up with these ideas that say you bought $2,000 worth of crack, and I highlighted that, tonight because, as everybody knows with common sense, that's not what grieving parents do when their children, a 5-year-old little girl, has evaporated from their house. Now, mind you, this was her house. She went missing from inside her house. Okay. Now, this we're not talking about some kid walking on, some child walking on the street and a total stranger pulls up and says, "Get in the car." Okay? We're talking
Right.
about right? We're talking about a little girl in her house, and then, the parents both have different stories that they have, essentially, tested the waters with. And now this is another example of testing the waters. Well, that one didn't work. So let me convince them on why I did what I did. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the problem here. And this is why you hear Lawson say nobody's off the table. Okay, right? I mean, what say you?
Well, the thing with Lawson is he's in a tough spot. There, he's got all the help that he really needs, but missing persons cases are hard. I mean, they're really, really tough, man. It's not like you can just go out and be like, "Hey, where's this missing person?" You literally have to look. And I don't know the average, amount of time it takes for a missing person to be found in one way or the other, but it's not 48 hours. I mean, these things can go on for a long time. And Lawson Lawson's been in law enforcement for a long time. So just like you said, this is not his first rodeo. Okay.
Right. Right.
It's not.
Right.
And I get why people get frustrated with him. But to be honest with you, I don't think he's done anything wrong. I think that we should be supportive of the law enforcement. This is a 6-month investigation. In terms of an investigation for a missing child, it's not short, but it's not crazy long. Really, it's not. And hopefully we can try to have some integrity and respect for the police trying to do their job, because it takes a long time to put this stuff together, a long time. And I would hope at some point, if Lawson has hit a wall, that he would say that, because I think that would be important too, don't you?
Well, that can go either way, to be honest with you, right? Because, uh, and I'll give you just one observation in relationship to that comment. What did Don do? And I'm just going to talk about him for a minute. Okay. What did he do when Dr. Phil leaned over and said, I don't think you did anything wrong. Just go look at the expression.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
On his face.
Thank you. He said, thank you, or something like that.
Yeah. And so now you have Lawson, hypothetically, to your point, coming out and saying, we've hit a brick wall. Okay. Again, you would get the exact same expression if you did a comparative analysis of, if you could see into the house over on 110 Ben Hill Road, you would see the same expression. That would be my opinion. I could be 100% wrong, but he absolutely, lit up like, oh my gosh, okay, I've got a sale here. Okay.
Well, I already think that Don and Candus feel that law enforcement has nothing on them, and that's the reason that they gave that interview in one of the last shows that I did, when I was talking about that first interview that they did. They were setting up their deniability for years to come. how can we make this not come to our feet, but somebody else? Well, you say that she's abducted. Well, by who? I don't know. She's just gone. She's just abducted, like the rapture. She's gone. She vanished. Well, how do you implicate somebody in that? Well, I mean, unless you got to get proof. But basically what they're saying was Summer was in the basement and then she wasn't. And that's all they know. Come on. I mean, that's just not going to fly. It's just not going to fly. Who really is there somebody out there? And I'm sure there is, but is there really people out there that believe that that is true, that nobody knows anything more than she was just gone?
Yeah.
I don't buy it. And I feel the reason that it would happen that way, Chris, is if he would say, look, we're getting nowhere. Then maybe other resources could be tapped. That would be my look. I don't want him saying, hey, we're never going to solve this crime, but they do say, look, we don't have anything. I've seen it in other cases. Am I wrong there?
Yeah, no, you're right. But one of the other things that could be going on is what we call, or what we called, a parallel investigation. So basically, the public is hearing one thing, but behind the scene, there's another movement going on. Hang on just for a sec, Josh. I need to plug my phone in real fast.
Not
Okay?
a problem.
I got to go get my cord. Hang on. Don't lose that.
Dills, where's the cord? Dills, where'd you go, Dills? Well, look, while Chris is doing that, it is important to know that it is frustrating, from onlookers' perspective, but that in these cases, it does take a lot of time. And maybe they're letting them cook. Maybe they're waiting for them to turn on each other. There could be a whole lot of things. Go ahead, Chris.
So back in and I'll just use, Leticia Hernandez as an example. So Leticia Hernandez, December 16th, 89, when John Walsh had America's Most Wanted, his show was, cooking at that time, right? Mm-hmm. So my assignment was to work with all of the psychics and the parallel investigation. So the case agent, an FBI agent, and one of our female detectives were chasing one parallel process. I was assigned with some other folks to chase the second. And she was seen allegedly, thousands of times across the U.S. And I mean literally, 1,000 times in various different locations. And so my job was to chase those down. Well, nobody knew I was behind the scenes other than I had, believe it or not, I penned a song for her. And it got, the thought process was, okay, if some of these sightings are real, what if she's alive traveling around the country? Now, mind you, this is 1989, 1990. Okay. And so this was pre-internet, pre-everything. Okay. We didn't have the tools that they have today. Long story short, we had to keep that as a possibility to keep the public looking this way of the guy that we were really looking at, to keep them over here. Okay. So, and the reason for that was obvious, because if the bad guy, who, by the way, happened to live 3 doors down from where she was abducted, and we know who he is. We just, there's DNA, but there's not enough to retest it. So actually, they just checked it again this year. It was opened as another cold case over there. One of the investigators, Sylvia, is her name, Guzman. She's a great, smart cold case investigator. Anyway, so she ran it up the flagpole, and we just don't have enough right now. And so, where am I going with this? This could be happening in this case. So they're throwing, curveballs on purpose. Okay. And that keeps, the opposing team from really knowing what time it is.
Mm-hmm.
And so you come up, and this is why they get stupid. Okay. And they come up and they go, yeah, I bought $2,000 worth of crack. Okay. Because, just to show TBI, what I was doing. So this always goes into, the criminal behavioral analysis aspect of, don't ask how, ask the why. Why is the suspect thinking this way? Why would he say that? Why is, those kind of things. And I'm talking about Letitia. I'm not talking about, Summers or the suspect in that case, because, but, the bigger fear is, yeah, they don't want to go to prison. Alice, you're right. However, you give them time, and they realize they're already there. It's just, you just get lucky by, finding the victim.
No question.
So
what's going to happen is, in Tennessee, and I don't know how much snow falls there, but when the snow falls and it packs down and then it melts away, they'll search again. Like, that's pretty standard. In the case of Dylan Redwine, after the first heavy snow, he had been missing 9 months. They went out and they found I know this is horrible, but they found a piece of shoulder blade bone.
Yeah.
And then after that, they ended up finding the young man's skull with a crack in it, a crack that wasn't put there by an animal. And that's how they started putting their case together. That's 9 months after he went missing. They had to wait for the snow to go away.
Right.
I mean, I don't know exactly how much it snows down where they are, but I'm guessing that there's some snow. Do you know anything about that? Is the snow coming to Tennessee?
It's there tonight.
Yeah.
And
it's going to make everything so much harder.
Yeah. Letitia, her skull was found, turned in to the sheriff's department. They put it in an evidence locker. Okay. The ME was called, and a search was started in the geographic region because the animals had moved it. And I actually found her clothing. I found it hanging in a tree, so you could tell that the suspect it was what we call the body dump. And then the suspect threw her clothing out, and it hung up in the trees. It didn't go over the brush far enough down the hills. And I actually, I was the guy who found it. And, to this day, this could be a situation where I don't think Summer just walked off that property. Now, she could have wandered. Of course, that's a possibility. Okay? But, that's really doesn't make sense in the scenario.
Mm-hmm.
And so the script is really where I think we as a YouTube community just parallel, and we stay focused on what is the truth in relationship to the script, meaning what's already out there from the source. You can't get any better than the source, and that's DW and CW right now.
Chris, let's say that let's just say she wandered off.
Right.
And it all happened in the exact time frame that was told. She would have probably have been found, right?
There's a high probability that would have already been, her body, based on the summer heat, based on a lot of, environmental factors, that they had multiple dogs come into there. The reason I haven't bought into this idea that the dogs followed her down the trail, okay, or down the trail. Okay? Two reasons. Number one is the boys on the motorcycles. She used to chase them,
Mm-hmm.
so her scent can be all over that property. But the most obvious one though is it's a dog trail. What's the first thing you end up battling when your dog's on a leash? You end up battling the dog sniffing out, checking his email, okay, or her email, depends on you know, but checking their email down the dog trail. Okay, that's what
Otis uses carrier pigeon still.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but right. So nobody's talking about that piece of it. Okay, when you have a cadaver dog handler, say, or even a scent dog handler, right? And that dog has gone on the scent, okay, and you know the handler has to make a call because the first question they're going to say is, well, what is this trail here? Well, that's where all the dogs go. That's why we call it the dog trail.
Yeah, right, right.
At the time, we counted 13 dogs on that property. How do we know the dog wasn't scenting the dog?
And you've worked with dogs before, so you know something about that?
I spent 3 years as a dog handler, and I had a Schutzhund who is trained to find scent. And I have a lot of bites at the end of that leash back in the day.
So they were sniffing everywhere.
Well, they were sniffing on the human scent, but when you have those kind of dogs, like hound dogs, and who are really great, amazing sniffers, okay? But at the same time, there's so many other dogs in the environment that I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait until that dog handler or the authorities come out and say, yeah, it was actually summer scent. Okay, because I've heard different things. Remember, it came out the dog trail and it came down the driveway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So one of them is, wrong, unless they're both right, because there's 13 to 15 dogs that I was there and they're smelling each other.
A lot of peeps and poops to go through, that's for sure.
Right. So that's
And
when go ahead.
No, you.
That's why the narrative trumps. The narrative trumps the conversation trumps the dog. Okay? The narrative of where were you? What did you see? Okay. Why did that happen?
Mm.
That's where we stay focused. That's where we stay focused. The other stuff is, would be other additional circumstantial evidence. If you think about a swimming pool, for an example, and you see a wet footprint leaving from the pool to the house, the question will be, did somebody walk out of the pool?
Right.
We don't know.
Right.
What if it's a guy with a plastic Bigfoot?
Right.
That's what will be argued in trial. Okay. That's what will be argued in trial.
And what an interesting trial it will be. There's going to be so many moving parts, and who knows how many people will, because somebody's going to be held responsible for this in some fashion, in some way, shape, or form. If they don't have enough to bring, say, murder, manslaughter, there will be some charges that they're going to definitely have to answer for. And that's just how it is. Now, the reason, and I've said this before, is, and people say, well, why aren't they interrogating them? Why aren't they? I mean, how many times can you ask somebody a question? They've been interrogated. They've been talked to. They could pull them in at any time and talk to them. But at one point, they look at each other and go, you know what? We're not going to get anything from them. We didn't even invite them to the last search. Why didn't we invite them to the last search? Because they're not helping with anything. And we are on our own, boys. And don't think that they don't watch YouTube or Facebook or whatever. I mean, they look, Dawn is a Pandora's box of misstatements and weirdness and opening up new things left and right. It blows my mind that this far into the investigation that he thinks that some of the stuff that he says makes any good sense to any person that isn't on drugs. The whole Knoxville trip to prove that he didn't sell his daughter is probably, and I don't want to overstate it in the fact of like it's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard, but it legitimately is close to one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. It's in the top 20. And I've considered a lot of things really stupid in my life. That one, that's on the Mount Rushmore. I'm telling you.
It wins an Oscar. It's almost like the guy who goes in and puts a 6-pack of beer on the counter, and the clerk says, "Let me see your ID," and he hands it to him, and then he pulls a gun and says, "This is a robbery."
Right. Right.
He runs out with a 6-pack of beer.
Okay? Right.
That's in that category.
And then he goes on to say that TBI knew that he was doing it. Well, I don't know, man. It's just some of the decisions he
your face. I mean, remember the look when he goes right from the Dr. Phil show?
Yeah.
Think of that same face when you come in, right, as an investigator and say, "Hey, Captain, I got some news for you. What's up?" I watched Don buy $2,000 worth of crack. Okay. And he'd look at you and go, "You're fired. You're out of here. You're under arrest." Okay.
Yeah. Why would you let him do that?
Yeah. You just would. That's like watching somebody go into McDonald's and say, and in fact, LAPD did that one time. It was called the April Fool's robbery. Okay. It was April 1st. True statement. They got sued and they lost a lot of money. Okay. Because it was a McDonald's and they had a robbery crew going around LA and they were surveilling them and they let them go into a McDonald's and do a robbery. And they came out and they gunned them down. And they gunned them down and they yelled, LAPD. And all the crooks, went like this. And somebody said, "April Fools." Okay. And the crooks went like that and boom, it was a shootout and they killed somebody.
Right.
They got sued for millions of dollars.
Probably rightfully so.
And they should have.
Yeah.
That's so it goes into that category.
Well, look, he's not Whitey Bulger running the Irish mafia where they said, "Hey, we'll let you run a little crack here. We'll let you do a little loan shark in here. No murders." That's just not how this works. He doesn't have a deal with anybody. They're not letting him pass crack out on his own. By the way, Chris, you bought drugs on the street as an undercover. Yeah. Did you ever get any for free?
No.
Oh.
No. And by the way,
God bless him, huh?
I would have run with your hairstyle too back in the day. I would have run with that because I could have gotten anything.
All right. Okay. Let's do this, Chris. I'm the dealer. You want to buy. How would you do it? You pull up, say I pull up in a Cadillac on 20-inch Enzo rims. Okay. And say, so you're the one who would buy, right? I'd be the dealer.
Okay.
What would be the first thing you'd say to me?
Looking to cop.
What do I look like, a sucker to you? You look like a rookie.
Are you a cop?
I'm not a cop. Are you a cop?
What time is it, buddy? Where are we headed here?
What are you looking for? How much? Dime?
No, I need an 8.
I don't have that much. I'm gonna have to come back. Will you be here when I get back?
Yeah, I'll take a quarter then.
Oh, I don't know how much that is. You're pretty good at this. I don't even know what's a quarter of crack. Is that a lot?
No, it's a couple ounces.
And you would just buy crack and
Crack.
heroin.
I was buying tar heroin at the time.
Man.
You know,
So that must have been some really did you have like a fake tattoo?
I had a fake ID. I had I don't know remember what my street ID was, but we had fake driver's license. I had long hair. In fact, I have pictures, but I don't know if you can see them.
Did you have a teardrop?
No, I know. You know what that means, right?
Yeah, murder, isn't it?
Well, that's the rumor, right?
Yeah.
But it depends on how deep you go. If you're in the barrio, right, in the neighborhood,
Yeah.
and you're a hardcore gangbanger, if it's just a clear, okay, then that could just mean that you've been around the block for at least a year. Okay, if
Okay.
it's filled, okay, i.e., it's completely, you know, tatted out, that could mean various different things. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I've often heard that it was a homicide thing, but it all depends on who you talk to. You know, who you talk to. Some of these kids don't know. So
See, I could see you pulling up because you're trying to buy some crack and you say, "Yo, home fresh. Let me get some of that crack a lacka.
that
Let me
cra-
get let me get a quarters. Dills, bring the car around. We're out of here."
I had a guy one night, true story. We were on a surveillance and I was parked. I had an old um, UC car and we had a foot pedal. Remember the old high beam light things? A lot of youngsters don't know about them, but they're on the left hand upper corner on the floorboard of the vehicle.
Mm.
And it was a foot mic. So we had a car to car station in our vehicles. So everybody on the team could hear what was going on. So you would put your foot on it and you hold your foot down on it, and that would open up the mic for everybody around. So, if you were copping dope or if you were, picking up one of the ladies of the evening, for, take them off the streets, and they were soliciting you for a party, and 20, 50, $100, whatever the deal was going to be. And long story short, you would do that and you'd put your foot down and everybody would hear it. And this guy leans into my window. He goes, "Hey, what's up?" And I looked over. I'm like, "Oh crap, this guy's in my car, right?" And he looks down and he said, "You a cop?" I said, "Do I look like a cop?" He goes, "No." He said, "What do you need?" I said, "I don't know, man. What's available this evening? I'm looking for maybe a 20 spot or something." And he hits me up with a little baggie, right? He says, "How about this?" I said, "Oh, yeah, okay." I'm looking for that picture too.
Mhm. Yeah.
He goes, "Yeah, okay, whatever." And anyway, we play it off. Okay. I end up, getting the dope, getting it in my car. And the guy looks at me and I said, "Hey, I got one other question." He goes, "What's that?" And he comes back towards the window and I tin him. I said, "Popo," right? Right here. Here, let me
Your
see.
green screen's not going to allow it.
Oh, it's not? Can you see that?
I mean, I can't see you, but
Okay, I'm on the other side of this guy, and so I'm going to turn off my green screen. And long story short, I'm on the other side of this guy, and he's doing what we used to call a field interview, and he's pretending that he's contacting me,
is
right?
that you with the fluff?
That's me with the fluff and the mustache,
Look
bro,
at that.
right there. And
Oh man.
so that's me in the back, and so he's playing it off like, here's one right there for you.
Dude, you look like a buff Jeff Foxworthy.
Dude, this was when Starsky and Hutch was running. No, I'm teasing. I'm teasing. But the fluff I love it.
The McFluff.
It cracked me up. That's hysterical. So people were getting a little hot on me. They thought, I was, a problem. And so we needed a patrol guy to come by and shake me down. So he threw me on the car, patted me down, and all the bad guys were watching. Oh, he's not a cop. I bought a ton of dope right after that picture.
You look like you could buy a ton of dope right after that picture. Oh, that's good. Have you ever seen Point Break? I'm sure you've seen Point Break before.
Oh, yeah, that was a great movie.
And it's like Gary Busey, whoever, he was the undercover guy. He gets a tattoo, but he doesn't. For some reason, he got the real one instead of the fake one.
I'm going to give this to you again there, Josh. What do you? Go ahead. I know you'll do something with it. But...
I will. That's going on the thumbnail tonight. McFluff and gang.
McFluff. There you go.
Man, did you ever get your hair feathered? Like went back in the day?
Oh yeah, that was it.
You actually had it feathered
in the middle. It was a who was it? David Cassidy look.
The jean. Did you ever wear a jean jacket too?
I had. That's what I have.
Is that a jean? Let me see again.
Yeah, it's a jean jacket.
Man, you look too cool for school, brother.
There it is, brother.
Look at that. You look like
that was all mandatory undercover equipment.
You look like the Fonz's uncle.
I know, and I was wearing a wire too. So I used to get called all the time. The guys, in the unit, we used to have. They would write we had a red line, is what we called it, and it was a phone in the office, in the vice narcotics office, and for some reason, I always got, "Hey, McDonough, where are you?" I said, "I'm out, bro, I'm out," through the foot mic. Okay. He says, "Hey, we got one on the hook. Come in." And next thing you know it, the phone would ring in the office from the bathroom. They would write the number on the bathroom wall. "For a good time, call this number."
Somebody wrote my name on one of those before.
Cool. There you go. And I was always the guy, unfortunately, because I don't know why, but the guys, we would crack up and it would, anyway, it was interesting. And I'd wear the wire and go to work.
Man, that's just, how long did you go undercover? Was it just a daily thing?
Yeah. My job was undercover for 2 years.
Wow. Honestly, you could get nervous doing that, couldn't you? Or were you just pretty used to it?
I guarded Tom Cruise when they were filming Top Gun. Remember the part in the movie Top Gun where he comes up the hill from the beach on the motorcycle to go to Kelly McGinnis's house?
I do remember that, unfortunately.
Okay, that's the Top Gun house. Okay? Me and my partner guarded him during the filming of that movie, both of them. So
wow.
Yeah, and that was the standard equipment right there. You just blend in, during back in the day. I would have had what you're sporting there back in the day, just to kind of. I never did a beard though. I never did a beard, but I had the McFluff going.
You know why you did have the McFluff going. I know exactly why you never had a beard. I know exactly why. You were raised by a military family.
Yeah, my dad and mom, both Marines.
I'm sure your dad kept it. Did he wake up and use the straight razor was that his thing?
No, he just had the Gillette thing. That was his.
Yeah, I'm telling you, that is how the old school works. I think it was like in 1970 something. It was actually a congressional measure saying that employers, you didn't have right to grow a beard if your employer said no. And I think that actually rings true today. If they want you to shave for work, the New York Yankees, I don't know if you know this, you cannot have a beard and play for the Yankees. They do not allow it. So beards are, I think beards are rebellious, and we're trying to stick it to the man, but you should grow a beard. You should try it. You'd look, I don't know. You would look probably like What's that?
Karen wouldn't let me. So this is Irk when I went into canine. So I got transferred out of Vice Narcotics and I became a dog handler, and that was Irk the Jerk. Um, he was hysterical. Um, anyway, I did a small.
And what did he die of? What did he die of?
He died on duty. We got into something, and he ended up, um, you know, going. So uh, he was. Here he is. Here, this Irk was such a good dog. He was so smart. There you go, as a young pup. See the McFluff going there?
I was gonna say your hair and his fur match. Like it is. He is he's a beautiful dog.
He's a good dog. He was smart.
Man, and when he passed, I'm sure you were just torn up.
It was bad. It was bad.
It always is. It always is.
Here's
And
I had Cheryl Ladd, guarded her for a while. Remember her from the TV shows, all kinds of crazy people.
I have seen her. Was she easy to work for?
Yeah, no, she was Hollywood, the game.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
Hey, Chris, we have a we have a special guest joining us.
we do.
Yeah, let me everybody go ahead and welcome Mary. How you doing, Mary?
Hi, Mary.
Good. How are you, Josh? Hi, Chris.
Hi, Mary. How are you? Well, it's great seeing you.
Good. Yeah, you too. Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Okay.
certainly can.
All right.
Do you have your AirPods in?
I don't, but I'm not quite sure now. They're charged up and stuff, but how do I get them to connect with my laptop?
Yeah, so you'd have to open the Bluetooth, and I can go over it with you after the show. You would just need to open up the Bluetooth settings, and it'll just say, connect to AirPods, and then you'll be. How's the cooking channel been going?
It's going good. Yeah, it's going really good.
Yeah, how many subs are you up to now?
4,055, I think. So
awesome, awesome. And everybody, and if somebody can put Mary's link in the chat to her cooking channel, I would certainly appreciate that. Make sure to go over there and subscribe. She makes some fantastic food. I'm telling you, I tell everybody about those Tabasco beer wings. Something great. You want to have the McGurgles, McFluff? Have some of those. Those are real good.
Okay,
yeah,
Mary,
they are.
Now you have. Is it called a McFluff? Is that what you're making now? McFluff?
Right. There you go.
I love your channel. It's so great to see you're exploding, and I cannot wait to see the next what 2022 is going to do for you. What's your favorite dish?
My favorite dish is the souvlaki. I just love it, and I done a remake of it because it was one of my first videos that I put out, and the video quality wasn't good. You couldn't hear me. And so I got a lot of people going, I can't even hear it. So I remade my latest video. So yeah.
Nice.
That's
very cool. And did you do anything special for New Year's? Did you make anything special?
I didn't, but for the Super Bowl, I have a lot of dishes I was going to put out for Super Bowl, like some dips and side dishes, some salads and stuff like that. So,
man, we're gonna have to have a Super Bowl party at Mary's. It
right?
Sounds, oh man, I had a friend. So this was back when I watched football. I don't watch much anymore because I work mostly. It's a way to me. It was like a waste of time. I enjoyed it, but we used to go crazy with like Super Bowl parties, and we were just overboard. And I remember one time my a friend of mine that I used to do the podcast, my old, well, not my old, but my No Big Deal podcast partner. He was obsessed with making the salami with the cream cheese, right? And so what he would do is he'd just take cream cheese and then, spread it on and then you'd roll it up and it would just be like a little, whatever. And I remember he made like a tray of them. Nobody really ate them for some reason. And the game was over and I come back in the house and he's sitting on the couch with his shirt off with the tray in his lap. And he's got some spray cheese that now he's adding to the cream cheese. And there was probably about 4 left. And he looks up at me and he says, I'm really disgusted with myself, and I don't know what else to do. He ate the whole thing and all the cream cheese. He put cream cheese and spray cheese on. It's the most, you would never consider doing that, would you, Mary?
No, no, that don't even sound good.
It looked awful, but he loved it. And then he's lactose intolerant too. And his leg broke out in a rash. He was very upset about that. But it served him right. It served him. I think probably one of my favorite recipes from you is probably, oh man, I liked your enchilada recipe and your cheese. Was it the cheesy lasagna?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Oh, that was good. Yeah.
I love lasagna.
You made that up? Nice.
I haven't yet, but I'm going to. I did the enchiladas and the beer Tabasco chicken. I've done those twice. Those were really good, man.
The wings are awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris, what about you, Chris? What do you like?
I hammered your meatloaf.
Yeah.
Oh,
I did have the meatloaf too. I did the meatloaf.
That stuff just evaporated. And
right. And who would have thought of putting potato chips in it, right?
Oh my gosh, it was nuts. It was so good. And full confession, that's the only thing I've eaten so far, out of all your recipes. But I mean, I think it's going to be a tradition at our home one day. So
nice.
You mean the Airstream?
Really good. Yeah. And some of the names of some of the things that you have, I'm waiting for the McFluff now. That Josh,
right?
Next time you come up with one,
right?
Whatever it is, I'll try it at that point.
Yeah. Nice.
I didn't know the McFluff would stick. When I was watching your show earlier, Chris, I saw somebody nice hair.
See how much abuse I take, Mary? So much abuse I take.
Right, I know, right?
But this guy, while I'm on the air one night, sends me a picture of Jim Belushi as the samurai.
Yeah, have you seen his haircut? Have you seen Josh's haircut?
I don't know. I don't think so. I usually see him in a hat, but
okay. Just look at John Belushi. Remember Samurai Chef?
Yes.
Perfect timing for you being him. Okay. Samurai Chef Josh.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So that's your next dish. That is your next dish, Mare. You're gonna change the name and call it Samurai Chef Josh. Okay.
There you go.
Remember John Belushi when he had the bun back here?
Yeah. Right.
It was
that on Saturday Night Live?
Right. Yeah. Remember? Yes.
Yeah. Right.
Exactly. Thank you so much. There it is. That's his hair.
There it is. Yep.
That's his hair.
It's
so okay, here he goes. See, he's going to show it to us.
Oh, yeah. Okay, right. Yeah.
He puts it up in his little thingy.
There you go, Josh.
I don't have one that I would do it right now, but yeah, I have long hair. And I do look like Jim Belushi, kind of. Or is that who it is?
I mean, guys in the chat, that is Samurai Chef Josh, aka John Belushi. Okay.
Yeah, but
guys, I mean, we're all weighing in over here.
I think so. I can see it.
Hey, Kathy, Maria, yes, exactly, Amanda. Everybody knows, John. The gig's off. You're done.
Hey, I'm good with it. That's all right.
That's him.
There you go.
So every
Yeah.
month, there you go. Could you put him to work, Mary? Can you put him to work?
Yeah.
I'll chop some
Right,
onions
yeah.
for you.
Okay, how are you having fun with this YouTube thing, Mary? I'm
I
very proud.
am.
We are all so very proud of you
Yeah.
for doing this. I mean, what a home run to have.
Right.
What's on your mind? What do you love doing about this, you know, cooking thing here?
Well, I don't know, I put some stuff on my community page about, why I came into cooking and everything and wanted to start a channel. I've just always loved cooking. I mean, since I was like 10, you know? And so it's just like, I mean, and through the years, it's like any parties that the family has ever had or anything, everybody calls me. To either host it or get ideas or make food for them, and it's always been my passion, and a few years back I had ended up moving away from my family and everybody for about 4 years, and within them 4 years I collected over 200 cookbooks, believe it or not. And I think it was because I wasn't cooking for anybody, and being involved with that. So I think that's why the cookbook thing took over for a while. But
So, what do you have a total favorite? I mean, you don't have to reveal it now because you're probably holding it for some time. But
right.
what just rocks the house?
I do have, there's one recipe that I haven't cooked for a long time that I think everybody will really like, and I'll let you know. It's called ginger pork, kind of like a Hawaiian type pork.
Oh
And
no!
oh man, it is so good. You guys are going to love it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I can be the prep cook and I'll wear the gi and everything.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, you could chop my vegetables for me.
I've done that, man. I've worked in a restaurant when I was younger. That was rough. I mean, that was a
Right.
hard job.
Mhm.
I remember I was like 16 or 17. I worked at McDonald's.
Yeah.
They said, do you want to, they said, okay, we'll hire you. Huh?
What were you? What did you do? The pickle pusher or what? What were you?
I was the fryer and I worked they called it working both sides. I had no idea what that meant. But what it literally meant was you go from one side, walk around and work the other side, then walk back to work. So you would work the grill here, and then you'd walk around and work the fryer, and it was just back and forth all day. It was really, I had a newfound respect for those people when I got to finally leave there. And I remember going, I'm going to try to get a good enough education to where I don't have to do this the rest of my life. And nothing against people that do. It is hard work, man. Mm-hmm. And I just really found a new respect for it. And I'm very, you got to be really patient with people, because I see these videos of people online just abusing, like fast food workers, going, why would you, that is a tough job. Somebody told me the other day that they got change thrown in their face because the order was messed up. And, people just 2022, let's treat everybody like a human being, man. It's things happen. People's orders get messed up. Things get lost. Bad thing. Everybody's cool until they're not, until something goes wrong or something inconveniences them. Then you really find out how cool somebody really actually is. I've noticed that just like, oh yeah, he's a good guy. He's a good guy. Or he's a really chill guy. It's like, oh, well, he ever dropped his food, or you ever done it? You see how good of and so my hope is that really that we just can treat everybody with respect, because that's something that's really missing in the world. Chris, could you imagine, Mary, same with you, could you imagine being able to get away with half the stuff that kids get away with in school by the way they talk to their teachers now? I mean, would that have flown when you were in school, either one of you?
Nope. Ladies first.
Oh no. Nope. There ain't no way. you know, I'm 57, so I don't know. I'm not quite sure how you are, Chris, but when I was
I'm
like junior
23.
high,
He's 87.
I'm
yeah.
I'm 23.
Right?
I let the old man in. I'm 20.
Yeah.
This week I'm 24. So
Next week he's 24, and then next year he's 23 again.
they
And
count
then
my
he'll be,
age by dog years now.
Mhm.
So
he's 13.
I keep forgetting
Yeah.
how old I am. Yeah, I had somebody one time say, "Oh, you know, must be his brain." I'm like,
Yeah.
"What? You know,
Yeah.
seriously? You just figured that out?"
I'm actually 7. I was born on a leap year, and I go by dog years. So
Yeah, exactly. Mary, did you ever
Yeah,
work?
there you go.
Did you work in a restaurant, Mary?
I've worked in quite a few restaurants. Yes.
tough work.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Actually,
well,
my
Mary
very
did.
first job, I worked at Blimpies. Yeah, that was my very first job. Yeah, and
Yep.
I worked at McDonald's. I worked at Sonic. Um, I worked at a little cafe in Wyoming when I was about 16 as a waitress. So yeah.
That's
Also,
a good job too, being a waitress. Go ahead, Josh. I'm sorry.
I just wanted to say really fast to the best mod that you could ask for. It is Linda's birthday today. She's 22. Everybody, go ahead and wish Linda a happy birthday.
Happy
Thank you for being.
Yes.
She was
Happy
she's the
birthday.
original. She's the original mod for my channel when I had 4 people watching, and she's very appreciated. And it is her birthday, so we wanted to say happy birthday to.
Somebody in the chat was asking what's the worst thing that happened to me in working in the restaurant business. As a matter of fact, when I was working at Blimpies, there wasn't a lot of people one night, you know, had come in and we were just, you know, getting stuff done. And this couple comes in and I went to go serve them, but I stopped dead in my tracks because there was this huge rat, okay, like this big underneath the slicer, the meat slicer, okay. It came up from the basement. And the girl I was working with, I'm like, dude, I am not going over there and serving them. She goes, you have to. I'm like, nope, there ain't no way. And she had to walk over there and help them while that rat was this far from her feet. There ain't no way.
Wow.
I know. I remember eating at a Chinese restaurant. It was a one of those buffet Chinese. Look, it's never a good idea. Buffets aren't a good idea in general, and a Chinese buffet. So we go eat there, and we, what you do is you just go get your cardboard or your little thing, not cardboard, but styrofoam box. Me and my boys, and we get the food. We go home, we eat. I wake up the next morning, I'm reading the paper, and it says, local Chinese buffet shut down for health regulations. And I go, oh, man, we just ate there last night. And it was bad.
Did you get sick?
No, that's what worries me. We were all perfectly healthy. We got stronger. It's like uranium or something.
Do you do Chinese, Linda, or do you do?
I'm sure Linda eats Chinese. Yeah.
You do a lot of it?
Me?
Me?
Or both? Yeah, both of you.
Yeah,
No, I don't eat a lot of
actually, yeah, I actually have some Chinese dishes that I've been wanting to do. So I have a sweet and sour pork recipe that I want to do, and a beef and broccoli recipe that I have. Yeah.
Wow. Well, see, and I was just singing happy birthday to your mod Linda, and I called you Linda. I'm like, okay, again, it's a brain thing.
Right.
My brain just didn't fire on a cylinder for a second. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea if anybody's ever had more than one kid? getting a name wrong is not a big deal.
It's crazy.
Yeah, you, whatever your name is.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
I got called my sister 100 times, and I'm going, and this is a true story. When I was born, for some reason, whoever was working the typewriter that day decided to put an F instead of an M on my birth certificate.
Oh,
well,
no.
nobody noticed for a long time until a young little boy went to sign up for Little League. And that little boy, who was me, went up there and we had the birth certificate. And all of a sudden, they said that this isn't softball. And I said, dude. And I turned to my grandpa and he was laughing. He thought it was funny because there was a mistake. They told me that I was a girl on my birth certificate.
Oh.
And I told him, I said, and the guy that was at the registration, he thought it was funny too. But I was a little kid and I was really upset. And I literally told him, like, I don't know what else to do. And my grandpa says, well, you can just prove it to him if you want. And the guy just thought it was so funny. I said, no, I ain't doing that. I just want to play baseball. Anyway, I went to get it changed years later. It was like $400 to get it changed legally.
Wow.
I didn't even do it.
Wow.
Can you believe that?
Wow. Well, if it makes you feel any better, they slapped my mother when I was born. So
it doesn't, but that does make me chuckle.
Yep. Rolled me over and told her she had twins.
yeah, that's pretty unbelievable. I can't believe that happened.
That's as far as I go, right there. That's as far as I go. Well, maybe we'll catch up. I haven't seen you in a while. I haven't talked to you in a little bit. Is that okay, Josh?
Yeah, of course.
What's the latest with you? How's the fam? How was your Christmas and New Year's? Did you have a good Christmas? Did Santa?
Who, me?
Yeah, Mary. Did Santa hit the house?
Yes, I did. I had a really good Christmas. Usually I go to my kids' house during Christmas, but they all came over to my house this year. So we made a dinner and a ham and opened presents with all the grandkids. And then my husband's daughter came over with all her kids. And so, yeah, we had a really good Christmas. Yeah.
Awesome. Did you end up cooking or did somebody else take the helm? You ended up
No, yeah, we made a ham, yeah. And just had like rolls and some salads and yeah. So,
Awesome. Yeah. What did you do, Josh?
For Christmas?
Sure.
Oh, not a lot. It was me, my boys, my sister came over, her kids, my grandma. I smoked a ham. It came out fantastic. I'm trying to think, but having dang near 17, 18-year-old kids now, Christmas isn't like it used to be. It really is, I remember getting up at 5:30, 6 o'clock. We haven't done that in some years. And so it's not really that traditional of a Christmas. I mean, we have Christmas tree, Christmas dinner, we celebrate Christmas, but other than that, it was me trying to potty train the dog most of the day, that was really about it. It's funny too, because New Year's, my old dog hated fireworks like a lot of dogs do. And it's just terrible. They just shiver and shake. They have no idea. And I was thinking, I'd always have to stay home with Maggie on the 4th of July and New Year's because I was the only one that she would really be comfortable around. So I was curious to see what Otis would do. But I'm starting to think he's just so dumb he doesn't even really realize that booms are happening, and I'm happy about that. It's a good thing. He's not the brightest bulb, but he's the most entertaining of all of them. So no, just standard stuff, just with the family. It was it was good. It's always good to see family, but we have Sunday dinners, so we see each other enough. We make a habit of trying to get together every Sunday.
Awesome.
Yeah, and look, one day those will go away. They just do. Kids grow up, move away, and so we kind of, like I said, we kind of do it every Sunday, or at least try to make it a habit to get all the kids together and until they're not kids anymore.
Right.
But did Dills hit you up for anything important?
He's pretty mellow when it comes to stuff.
Yeah.
We got him a couple watches that he wanted, but and then all of our grandkids are out west where I'm at right now, in the Airstream. So anyway, we did the FaceTime thing with them, and then Karen took us out for a Brazilian steakhouse. Have you been to one of those places where you flip the little chip over and they come to your table with the meat?
No, I've never been there.
It was like, oh my goodness.
I've been to Mongolian barbecue and stuff like that.
Man,
teppanyaki.
It's so I know one word. I know one Portuguese word, and it's obrigado, means thank you. One of my good friends is from an area called Porto Alegre, and in Brazil. And I said, his name is Felipe, and I said, Felipe, give me one word that I need to know. He goes, obrigado. I said, okay. What's another word? He says, oh, you're not going to like those, so I'm not going to give them to you. And I said, okay, that's cool. So, oh man, we went to this place and they came by and it was like nonstop. The food just kept coming and it was off the hook. Yeah, the gauchos thing. I just saw somebody, that was the name of it. One of those gaucho places, yeah. And it was really good. So that was our Christmas dinner. So it was fun.
Nice.
That is awesome. It does change though, doesn't it? Like when your kids aren't that little anymore. I see people in the chat say, wait for grandkids, wait for grandkids. If I'm a grandpa at 37, 38, I'm going to be mad. I'll tell you that right now. Not cool. I want to wait for a while, man. I had kids really young. I don't want to have grandkids really young, but I guess, that's true. I never really thought of it. I never thought of that. I guess but that's the best though, when you can send the kids home. It's like, grandpa's tired now. Time for you to go with your mom and dad. But
it's best. Go ahead, man.
It's been it was a good year. I had a fantastic, I met a lot of, in such an unfortunate event, such as, this case and all these different cases, I've met a lot of people. And under the circumstances, it's not always obviously the best circumstances, but I am glad that I got to meet, Mary and Chris and just, I've met so many different people, subscribers and that I consider friends. And, but it has been eventful. And I think that this year is going to be, we're strapping up for a wild ride. I'm telling you, there's a lot of things that on the board, that all of us are going to be working on. So it's going to be a productive year. I know that.
Yes.
And I hope that everybody, once this post-COVID world really starts to actually, freely open back up, I hope that everybody stays safe and healthy, because that's important. I worry about people and I just want everybody to be as safe as possible. But I know we've all known people affected, and it just makes you. I watch things from like 2018, when there's no masks or anything, and I sit there and I go, it's almost like you don't even really remember what it was like. I mean, you do, but you don't. You go, wow, is this the or is this? Are we going to wear masks forever? Or are we going to? Who knows? Who knows what the future holds? But I do know that we're going to be okay. Everybody's. We're just got to figure things out. And Chris, I'm so glad that you came on, and Mary, thank you so much. And go sub to, if anybody's here and doesn't sub to, the Interview Room or Mary's cooking channel. What's the name of the channel again, Mary?
Mary Hartman's Dinner, Drinks, and Tasty Treats.
Yep. And if mods throw that up, make sure to go over there, and that would be awesome. Was there anything else? Did you have anything on the way out, Chris?
No, I just was curious, Mayor, how's your mom doing? I know she's something's going on there. So how's she doing? How can we help?
She's doing okay, but she fell about 2 weeks ago, week and a half ago, and she hit her head, and she cracked her head wide open. And she's 77, and so my sister rushed her up to emergency. They sent her home that night, but then the next day they sent her back up to the emergency and then put her in the hospital for about 4 or 5 days, and now she's in a care center. So she's doing a little better. It's kind of touch and go. She she's gained a little bit of weight, and so that's good. My dad's been going up to see her. Somebody has to go get him and take him up there and stuff. But she's doing okay. I think she's going to be all right. I hope she's going to be all right.
Okay.
So
yeah, keep us posted. And if we can, at least keep her in our prayers. I know not much we
sure
can do.
will.
And your dad's cognitive moving forward, good to go. He's up in a walker now, I hear.
Yeah, but he has his good days and he has his bad days. Like one day he won't even be able to get up. He won't be able to move or anything like that. He's in so much pain. And then like 2 days later, he's up and around a little bit, but he does need his walker. So
what's he diagnosed with?
He's got dementia, and he's got Alzheimer's, and he's also got stage 4 kidney cancer. And to tell you the truth, I don't know how he's been hanging on this long, but he's one tough bird.
Yeah,
that's what my grandpa died of. He had dementia and all. And when the dementia and the Alzheimer's collided, there were times where he just didn't even know like what universe he was in, and it was painful to watch. And it was such a fast decline. It comes. Yeah. I remember when they diagnosed him with it, and he would tell me he said he didn't seem that worried, but then I remember about 8 months later when it really started to. And he said, he goes, I didn't think that this was going to be as hard as it is. And he goes, as hard as I fight it, because there were things that they would tell him to do, exercise your mind and take your medicine. And he says, as hard as I fight it, he goes, I feel like I'm just, every time I fight hard, it hits me back even harder, and it was just such a tragic thing to watch. And I don't envy anybody that has to watch their family members go through that, and it just happens a lot. Fortunately, it's very hard.
Yeah. I wish they could find a cure for it.
Yeah, those neurological brain disorders, even epilepsy, things like that. Real good luck. Not saying that maybe they can have some medical breakthroughs, but when the problem with the brain is that it's encased inside your head. It's hard to work on live ones. You really can't. It's really hard to study that kind of stuff, And I have a son that has epilepsy, and they still don't exactly know why it happens. I mean, they just don't. And they have ways to treat it, but there's no. It'd be a long time, I think, before there's Parkinson's.
Yeah.
Parkinson's is a tough one, and yeah, those neurological disorders. Those are really, really tough, and hopefully one day, but who knows? Who knows?
Yep.
We're always on the verge of something, a breakthrough somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I know there are people that work hard on it. I know that. We just hope for the best. Anything going out, guys?
No, Mary, it's great seeing you. So I'm very proud of you. Obviously, the world is extremely proud of you. Stay the course, as always. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And Mr. Josh, aka Chef Sushi, thank you so much for inviting me over to chat, share some old memories, and hopefully we'll do it again soon, my friend.
It's always fun having you guys, and Mary, you're such a sweetheart, and I appreciate you coming up here. You just love your channel, and you guys are awesome people, and I wanted to say Happy New Year to everybody watching, and we will be back soon. Mary, Chris, thank you guys so much. You guys take care.
Have a good night, Josh.
You too, Mary. And thanks again, everybody, for being here. Thanks for all the super chats. Thank you for the new members. People were asking over and over, can you ask Mary this? Can you ask Mary that? I talked to Mary about cooking exclusively. That's it. Leave the rest up to the rest. And I'm sure you guys understand that. Thanks again, everybody, for being here. I'm your host, Joshua Diaz. You've been in the lab. Thank you to all the new subscribers. All the new members.